conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Public participation is governed by Board Bylaws 0169.1, public participation at board meetings. We will now call the roll. Mrs. Petter?
Mr. Simons?
Present.
Mrs. Kessler?
Here.
Mrs. Cleveland?
Here.
Mrs. Moore?
Here.
Mrs. Ely?
Here.
Mr. Carr, would you lead us in Pledge of Allegiance? Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Today we have an inspirational message. Mr. Carr?
Do you first?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's have a motion for the approval or revision of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded.
Mrs. Kessler?
Yes.
Mrs. Cleveland?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Ely?
Yes.
Mr. Simons?
Yes. Now we move to the inspirational message.
Thank you,
Mr. Carr.
sir. We have Mr. Principal Murray here with the wonderful students from Evendale Elementary. And I will say, I gotta say this, they brought me some Mike and Ikes. So you're one up. Somebody found out I'm addicted to Mike and Ikes, and they brought me a box of Mike and Ikes. You just got to see me dance. So you don't see that very often. So.
Good evening. I want to start off, sorry, making sure good. Good evening. I want to start off by letting Susan Whiter's family know how much she has meant to Evendale and Princeton City School District. She has been such a strong supporter and resource for countless numbers of students and families. She always works hard to ensure all of our families had what they needed. For this, we want to say thank you. At Evendale, we are embracing this year's theme, Achieve, Together We Can, as a guiding vision for everything we do. From the first days of school, students and staff have been building strong relationships, establishing routines, and diving into meaningful learning experiences. Each day, we see how collaboration between students, teachers, and families create a positive and supportive learning environment where everyone can thrive. We believe that achievement is not just an individual effort, but a shared journey. By working together, we celebrate each success, learn from challenges, and continue to grow as a community. Whether it's academic progress, personal growth, or the kindness shown in daily interactions, our students are learning that true achievement comes from supporting one another. We are now going to have some of our fifth grade students share with the school board, Mr. Card and Ms. Petter, some of their wildly important goals that they have set for this year and the action steps that they'll take to achieve those goals. So we're going to have Evendale fifth graders. You guys can go up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Wow. That's so
I'm
special.
gonna go out there and watch.
Hello.
I will show my work when solving problems. I will identify important information for problems. My diagnostic score was
It sounds like you do.
and my score is 500.
Wow. That's a big goal, isn't it? Good.
All right.
So are you working hard on it?
Okay.
What do you do when you finish?
My reading diagnostic by the end of the year 2025.
Are you the fastest reader in the class?
You'll write it down.
whenever I read the song or when I read about it.
Great job. Great job.
I didn't take the score quiz. I was
Hey,
class 5 already.
do you have something you like to read?
I love it.
What's your favorite thing to read?
At home every night. I will use my
Like books or comic books or?
vocabulary and speak.
Oh.
Can I see your notebook? Do you like that? That is cool. Can I see your book? That is amazing.
Does it teach you how to survive?
I really love it. Wow.
Okay, I don't know if I survive.
What grade are you in?
Okay.
Okay, good job. Last year.
All right.
Hi.
Great job, my man.
Hi, great job.
How are you?
Hi there.
I am wonderful. Now that you're here, I'm even
I know. I got to pay attention.
I think you're probably already amazing.
Those are all good things. Are you getting close? You got it. I think you got it.
Okay, what are you reading right now?
Okay. You got it. When do you take it again?
Congratulations. You did great. Can I see your notebook?
Oh,
Let's see how you do these.
oh, that's okay. Sometimes you just remembering the story is good enough.
Wonderful. So my kids,
Okay, I think I read that a long time ago.
What's your next?
Dog man. I gotta read that, I guess. I see it in the library, but I have to check it out. Would you recommend it? Okay,
like that?
I'll have to check it out. What grade are you in?
Well, that could go. You'll get there, I'm sure. I love this though. This is such a great, you did an amazing job. Thank you.
Good job.
Like I said, we've really been focusing on goals and setting individual goals, but this next year we started stepping up and they've all been creating action
got it.
plans and what it's important for the future. So that was what they got to share with some of the school board here. So we really appreciate them coming out and the school board for all the support. We just wanted to highlight all the great work that they're doing this year. Thank you all.
Thank you. Impressive.
We want to move on to recognition of Susan Wider's contributions to the Princeton City School District.
For all those watching on TV, we just had a nice event out in the cafeteria with the Wider family, and a lot of people came to show their support and love and respect for Susan Wider. So at this time, Mayor Mumphrey's going to come up and say a few words, the mayor of Lincoln Heights.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to first thank the Princeton City Schools Board for allowing me to come speak regarding Susan Wilder. I'm not going to get emotional, but when you think about how many lives she has touched the Princeton School District, it makes you tear up. So I'm not going to cry because everybody knows I'm a crybaby, but I just want to come to speak on the Village of Lincoln Heights and what she has done, not just for Lincoln Heights, but throughout all the communities in the Princeton School District. So I come, as the Village of Lincoln Heights, we present our letter of resolution on the dedication of Susan Wider. Susan served our community not just as a board member, but as a member of our community. Her passion and compassion ran so deep throughout the Princeton School District, actually the entire Princeton School District. Susan's desire to make sure no child was left behind without clothing, without shoes, without food. Her desire, her passion was expressed through the Giving Tree and also the Princeton Closet. Susan's love that she gave to the Village of Lincoln Heights and the entire Princeton School District is one that will continue to be remembered. Her legacy is one that will be known throughout the Princeton School District. It is a legacy of her resilience to work in our community as well as all the communities throughout the Princeton School District. From her support and her teachings, it has helped to provide clothing, coats, and shoes, and also her wisdom. It was her determination that she made and the support to help all who that came across her. Susan touched so many lives in the Princeton School District, and she will be forever remembered. So I can read all day long, but just to sit here and speak about how great Susan Wilder was for the Princeton School District and for the Village of Lincoln Heights and for Woodlawn, Evendale, Glendale, Springdale, Sharonville. She was great, and I hope I didn't I hope I have not missed anybody. But when I sit up here and think, I think about all our elementary schools and how she made it very important that she touched, I'm gonna say sprinkled, that love on all of our elementary schools. And also she took care of our junior high and our high schools, and she made it personable. She made everything personal by her being in our parades year over year, football games. I'm going to say that Princeton was her life, even though she had a wonderful family, a wonderful husband, wonderful children. I just want to thank them also for giving her to us. I want to thank you. And so I just want to take my seat because it's not a eulogy. It's just we're here today to lift her up and thank her for the dedication that she gave our communities. God bless you all.
Thank you. Now we have Mayor Hardman, Sharonville.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Thank you, Board. And so I'll introduce myself as Susan Wider would introduce me every time I would come into contact with her, and she would introduce me to someone. I was one of her favorite fifth grade students. It was certainly a pleasure to be touched by Susan Wider and so many other great teachers in the Princeton School District, but who have given me the ability to be who I am. And so on behalf of the city of Sharonville, as mayor, it is just my honor to present a proclamation to you, Walter, and her family for the great contributions that she has made to the school district and to the city of Sharonville for her many, many years of teaching there. So whereas Susan Wider earned her bachelor's degree from Ohio Dominican in English and speech drama and her Master of Arts in English from Xavier University, and whereas she and her husband Walter selected the Princeton City School District to live, raise, and educate their 4 children, Gretchen, Rachel, Jennifer, and Charlie. And as their mom served as president of the Springdale PTA and as newsletter editor and president for 2 terms of Princeton Music Boosters. And whereas Susan, as an employee of Princeton, had many notable contributions, including director, producer of the Sharonville Renaissance, founder of the Sharonville Giving Tree, founder of the Princeton Closet, and recognized in 2007 as the Princeton Elementary Teacher of the Year before retiring from teaching in 2011. And whereas Susan wanted to continue to give back following her retirement and opened the Princeton Closet 5 days a week, was elected to the Princeton Board of Education in November of 2011, serving until August of 2025, including a term as president, became a strong advocate for school-based health centers, and for all this earned the title Princeton's biggest cheerleader. And whereas Susan has made many generous contributions to the Sharonville community and the Princeton City School District because her life's work has been devoted to trying to break the cycles of poverty and understands students cannot learn if they are hungry, cold, or lack school supplies. Therefore, it is my honor as mayor of the city of Sharonville and 5th grade student of Susan Wider to honor her dedication and selflessness to our Princeton Viking community and beyond for 50, quote, splendiferous years by proclaiming today, Monday, October 13th, 2025, as Susan Wider Day in the city of Sharonville.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor Hardman. Mayor Hawkins, Springdale.
Thank you. It's always great to follow my mayoral big brother, Kevin Hardman. Good evening, members of the school board, Superintendent Card, Treasurer Petter, staff, Mr. Wider, and family. On behalf of the city of Springdale, it's my great honor to give the opportunity to recognize one of our residents, Susan Wider, with regard to all that she's done. And this is an opportunity, as it was said, it's not a eulogy. This is an opportunity to give flowers to someone while they're still around to receive them. And when you're measuring a person's life or their legacy, it's really based on how they make people feel and the impact they have on other people's lives. And Susan Wider's had an amazing positive impact on thousands of children. With that, the city of Springdale is pleased to join in the recognition of Susan Wider for the service to the Princeton City School District. And whereas Susan Wider chose to live in the Princeton City School District over 40 years ago in the city of Springdale with her husband Walter Wider and raised their successful children, Gretchen, Rachel, Jennifer, and Charlie, who are all Princeton graduates. Whereas Susan Wider's education has contributed to her being an exceptional educator, evidenced by her obtaining a bachelor's degree with the Ohio Dominican in English and speech drama, and a master's degree in Xavier University in English. And whereas after her formal education, she never stopped learning as she gained knowledge about school law and funding for schools in Ohio. Susan Wider worked with members of the Ohio House and Senate, made lobbying trips to Columbus. And whereas Susan Wider's career with the Princeton School District started at Springdale Elementary in 1980, and from 1981 to 2004, she taught at Sharonville Elementary, and then served from 2004 to 2006 at the Princeton Community Middle School, and returned to teach at Sharonville Elementary School from 2006 to 2011. And whereas Susan Wider serves students in and outside the classroom, and is a former president of the Princeton School Board of Education, served multiple terms as a member of the board, and has served as the Princeton School District PTA president, the president of the Princeton Music Boosters, as well as the newsletter editor for the Music Boosters. And whereas Susan Wider established the Princeton Closet, which helped thousands of students by providing children with clothes, coats, and accessories, which has had a major impact in the Princeton community. And whereas Susan Wider has passionately served the Princeton District and has shown initiative, innovation, and had a positive impact. Whereas my great pleasure and honor in this proclamation on this day I therefore, Lawrence C. Hawkins III, Mayor of the City of Springdale, do hereby proclaim Monday, October 13th, 2025 as Susan Wider Day.
Next, we'll have Mayor Poole, Woodlawn.
Now, as the lawyer would say, it's hard to follow behind folk. Well, it's hard to follow behind a lawyer. I'm just here to tell you guys about that. But we bring greetings from the village of Woodlawn, and today is a very special day, I believe, for everybody here in the Princeton community. We've echoed so much about Susan Wider, and for me, I was on council when I first met Susan in the village of Woodlawn. I met her through the late Susan Upton Farley, and if anybody knows about the late Susan Upton Farley, along with Susan Wider, boy, this ear was going and that ear was going, boy, oh boy. But needless to say, I learned a lot from the both of them. But what's especially that resonates in my heart about Miss Wider, again, we've heard this so many times, but Miss Wider cared about the children of Princeton. It did not matter what color, it did not matter where they came from. Whatever that kid needed, all we did was simply make a call, tell Mrs. Wider what we needed, and it was delivered on time. And so I thank her for that from the village of Woodlawn. So with that being said, further ado, we will have a little small proclamation from the office of the mayor. This is a proclamation. It says, whereas the village of Woodlawn would like to congratulate Mrs. Susan Wider for 50 years of service and commitment to Princeton City School District students, staff, and community. Whereas Mrs. Susan Wider has been a pillar of the Viking family as a teacher from 1980 to 2011, where she was given the honor of the Princeton Elementary School Teacher of the Year in 2007, and was recognized in 2021 as a hero of character by the Cincinnati Character Council. Whereas Mrs. Wider has also served on the Princeton Board of Education from the time she retired in 2011 until this year, 2025. Whereas Mrs. Wider was the founder of the Giving Tree program and the Princeton Closet, which speaks to her heart, dedication, and commitment to the Princeton community. Your years of service have made a significant impact on our school and community. Now, therefore, I, Brian K. Poole, the mayor of the village of Woodlawn, along with Vice Mayor Pamela Fitzgerald, councilpersons Esther Boyd, Rosemary Brown, Cindy Chandler, and Robert Lawson, and Michelle Starr, we do proclaim Susan Wider Day in the village of Woodlawn today, October the 13th, 2025. Thank you so much.
Mayor Finan was here earlier for the gathering but could not stay. So at this time, we're going to have Ms. Mary Lofty of Glendale, the former First Lady, come up and say a few words.
And I thought everyone was going to have Princeton garb on. You're also dressed so nicely. I started with Glendale. My children went to Glendale Elementary when Aaron Mackey was the principal. My husband was mayor of Glendale for 8 years. He's been retired for a year and a half. And if you don't hear train whistles in Glendale, you just think, my honey. And I've been a volunteer at Glendale Elementary for the 12 years since we moved back into town. Susan was, I think all of the words that can describe her have already been used. I volunteered 4 years at the Closet during COVID and beyond. Susan had people talked about the big things she did. Since she was at the garage, which she wasn't very happy with, but she got happy after a while, every bus driver had a bucket of hats and gloves. So if they picked a child up in the morning who did not have hat and gloves, They had hat and gloves when they went home, because that was just the way it was. They shouldn't have cold hands and heads. Also, while she was at the bus station, she would get the bus list, and she knew which children needed assistance. So rather than have the families have to come to the school and pick up backpacks, we delivered backpacks. I delivered backpacks to the colony, which is now called the Arbors, but it's still a colony, so that the children had backpacks for the first day of school. They didn't have to pick them up at school. So she did all kinds of things, and the thing that I thought was most splendiferous was that she would ask the coaches to ask the athletes when they graduated. So you played 4 years of football. You have 117 football shirts. Pick your 3 favorites, give the rest of them to the closet so we can give them to the kids so they can have spirit wear. And that to me is just the day-to-day stuff. She did big stuff, but she did lots of little stuff with class. Thank you.
At this time, before we read our proclamation from the district, would any of the board members like to say a few words?
Sure, I would. I first want to say that in the 10 years I've been on this board, I would usually look to my right and see Susan, or look to my left and see Susan. And she is truly missed. One of the most caring people you'd ever want to meet. I could always count on her to always remember, even when the rest of us didn't, she always remembered when the superintendent's birthday was and when the treasurer's birthday was. And she'd get a collection from us and always remember to get them a gift. She was just like that. And she would remember every single holiday. I remember getting an Easter card, a Halloween card, all those things. And it was a little thing, but it was a big thing that she was so considerate like that. And, you know, people talk about the Princeton closet, but I found out tonight about another closet. Mr. Wider told me about Susan's closet. And, and when you see her daughters, you see the stylishness of Susan right there with us. And I'm continuing to pray for her that she feel better and that you guys feel good about the tough decisions you have to make as children and as spouses. And we thank you for sharing your mom with us.
Okay. I first met Susan probably 15 years ago when my oldest was in elementary school. And I've always been impressed by her passion, enthusiasm, and dedication to the students and their families. You know, she was not one to leave anyone out. You know, brother got something, little sister, the whole family was something that Susan took care of. And I think that's just a good role model for all of us.
Yeah. Susan and I often were the first ones that would be here on board meeting nights, and we would talk about her fashion that you mentioned. We would look at her outfit, and it was always Princeton colors, and she was always so proud of what she wore to the meetings. And she would tell me all the time about all the superintendents over there on the wall, and I feel like I know all of them and the history of Princeton, and I'm just really cherishing all of her guidance. She has taught me how to be a great teacher, how to be a great mom, how to be a great board member, how to be a leader, and more than anything, how just to be a really wonderful person.
First of all, thank you to the family for sharing Susan all this time with us. We know how hard it is sometimes to give up the endless nights that sometimes it took to be on the board, so I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. For me, you know, Susan was one of the first teachers on the board for me. When I got on the board, she had been on the board for 2 years, and so she was the newest. So she was able to kind of share with me what it was like to be a new member of this board. And similar to what Gina said, you know, every time I looked to the right or the left, there was Susan. I'm always reminded of the opportunities, though, that we got a chance to do some professional development. There was always me, Susan, and Lillian, who would hang together. And they were instrumental in just helping me to grow into a board member, but also as a person. You know, I'm reminded of the time we went to, and I'm not gonna share this whole story because what happens in New Orleans have to stay there. But we went to New Orleans for some professional development, and every step of the way, I just remember them leading me, you know, to who I needed to talk to, what I needed to do, how I needed to bring the information back. It was such a learning experience, and it was one of the first trips I had taken with the board, and I'm forever grateful to them for doing that. You know, the key there was that these were two people who truly, truly cared about the seats that they sat in. For that, I can't speak enough because it's shaped who I am as a board member just by watching. To that end, Susan and I also share the raising of children with special needs, and we talked about that a lot. I'm also reminded of all the times that families who had kids, who were raising kids in our district with special needs, would come forward with their needs. And many times people didn't realize what Susan was doing behind the scenes to help them. Sometimes it was going back to Walter to ask legal issues. Sometimes it was bringing necessary items that they may need. And sometimes it was just holding their hand. But the key was she understood because she had experienced it. So again, another way that I was able to really connect with Susan was through the raising of kids with special needs. So again, thank you to the family for sharing her all those years. And hopefully you hear just how much she was loved by our district.
I see in the back we have a former superintendent, if you'd like to say a couple of words about Susan.
So, thank you, Board of Education. Good to see everybody and the incredible leadership team. None better than that leadership team. But just very quickly, when I first was appointed superintendent, Susan was there. My very last day as superintendent, Susan was there, but it wasn't about the first day and it wasn't about the last day. It was about each and every day. When you think about the indelible difference that one person could make in a district, that was Susan Wider. And there's so many stories that people have told and that have not been told. And I think it's those stories that haven't been told that really rest on people's hearts. So to Walter and his beautiful kids that give and give and give, that spirit of Susan will live on forever. And I'm going to actually go see Susan tomorrow. I'm excited to see her and share a few laughters and actually get in trouble for putting her in the bus garage. I don't know if you guys know that. That was Tom Burton who did that. That will live in infamy for sure. But Susan's certainly one of a kind, and all the different stories about her given, again, the stories that haven't been told rest on our hearts as much as those that have been told. So Walter and beautiful family, everyone said it. Susan was there for all of us and will still be there for all of us. And so thank you, President John Simons, for this unexpected but awesome opportunity to share a few thoughts. Thank you.
Walter, you raised your hand. You had something else to add, or?
I just wanted to tell you, even though she won't realize what these are, I will see that she sees them.
Okay. Okay, the proclamations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a young young lady back there, Dr. Jackson, would you like to say a couple words?
All right, clap her up there, yeah. She's a PK, a preacher's kid. She's not afraid.
First of all, thank you for the board for recognizing Susan and my friendship. Susan was one of the very first people my husband and I met when we moved to Cincinnati. She was working at that time for the Dries Corporation, picking up some Social Security credits. So when Wesley and I went into the office, Walter, to pick out the colors and stuff for our house, she was right there. She helped us pick out the lot. She helped us pick out the colors, because for those of you who don't know me very well, colors and me don't really do very good. I just, I can admire beauty, but I don't know what to do with it, and don't ask me to replicate it. What I found was, after my tenure as building principal, when I went over to Sharonville, Broken, she came down and she brought this nugget called the Renaissance Festival. And those of you who know me well know I love to perform. I love to get kids ready for performance. That's an important part of our job. And here she was. We put out, Lynn and I, we put out tiles, we put up wreaths, we counted plates, we did everything. But then the night came together. We dressed up in those century kind of clothes. I'm not a costume person. She made me wear it. She made me wear that thing on top of my head. It was a mess. But we surely had a good time. Susan called me the week before she went to the hospital. And she called me 3 times that week, and I just didn't have the time to talk to her. I was on my way to a meeting or something, and how I regret that. But I want you to know, Walter, she was a very, very dear friend. She loved the work she did. And the work that she did is exemplified in this room times a million. We're all better because you chose to share your wife with us. We're all better because she taught us what's important, and that is kids have someplace safe to live. They have full bellies. They have clothes to wear, and that they have what they need in order to learn. See, nobody else could do that the way that Susan did it. And she did it with she came buzzing in the building, whatever, and she said all the time, whatever you need, whatever you need. And some people say that and they just talking. And they talking because you know them. But she said it, and she meant it. So thank you very much, family. Thank you very much. Believe it or not, even though she's someplace different, she's way down here in our hearts. And the district that we take part in today is because we have teachers in our district like Susan Whiter. Thank you.
That's right.
Who's better?
That's a hard act to follow. Who thought that lawyer was a hard act to follow? Way to go, Deb. Susan was on the board that hired me 9.5 years ago, and she was always just so careful that I was getting everything I needed. I don't think I ever felt like her employee. Just a lovely human to be around. I think the fun thing about Susan is she had no idea how wonderful she was. Mm-hmm. And I would tell her, I'd say, Susan, I just don't think I'm as good as you. And when I retire, I'm going to work as hard as you do. And it was just a foreign concept to her. Yeah. Just such a lovely person that had no idea how wonderful she was and how many lives she touched every day. Thanks.
I see another vibrant personality.
Uh-oh.
Dr. Hawkins. Would you like to come up and say something?
Our former board member, Dr. Lillian Hawkins.
I am so former. But Susan was my twin. We dressed alike, had the same shirt, same pants. It was kind of and she would say sometimes, you know, we're friends. And I go, no, we're board members. We're not friends. We have to make decisions about things. But she's everything that everyone else has said she is. She's just, you know, cheerful and makes everything friendly. And I'll miss her. I mean, and, you know, but she's still here, and we'll see her. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
As you know, the closet is still in existence. And Walter and Susan found a very, very good person to follow in their footsteps, and I'd like for Anna Johnson to come up.
Susan meant so much to me, and I am so honored to be able to take on her legacy. She is very much missed. I miss talking to her. I miss seeing her every Wednesday, but I am going to try my best to honor her in everything I do. Thank you for letting me I have the opportunity.
Besides being bold, Susan was also an intellectual. And sometimes people didn't recognize that because she worked in elementary rather than secondary or at the college level, but she was an intellectual. And she's very passionate. And she would always say, they're going to underestimate me because I'm not that big, but you just watch it. So I appreciate that about her, and everything that she did was for the good of the students, the families, Princeton, and hopefully we can all reach that level on a consistent basis. Mr. Card?
Thank you. Got me all motion. I'm a big guy, but I'm soft sometimes. Mayor Hawkins said it best. A couple things we can learn from today. Remember to give people their flowers while they still can enjoy them. That is something I heard about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And I try to do that. And for a year and 2 years and a little bit more, Ms. Whiter sat right here beside me, and we talked about everything. How we taught across the hall from each other at the middle school. She talked about being, every time she introduced me, we talked across the hall from each other at the middle school, and we did. From the day I met her, she treated me like gold. From the day I came and was hired as superintendent, she was ecstatic for me because we had taught together. She said, just think, we're 2 teachers and now you're the superintendent. I said, ooh, yeah, I know. That's a big thing, isn't it? We always had that. So if this world can learn anything from Susan Whiter, and our world needs this right now, it's how to treat people. And that's all I'm going to say for this resolution because I'm going to cry. The board wishes to proclaim the following. Whereas Susan Whiter was devoted more than 35 years as an educator in the Princeton City School District, inspiring generations of students throughout her teaching, leadership, advocacy, and whereas she recognized a true learning cannot take place when children are hungry, cold, or without essential supplies, and in response founded the Princeton Closet, which for nearly 2 decades has provided clothing, food, school supplies, and other necessities to more than 10,000 families in need. Whereas she extended her compassion beyond the classroom, becoming the founder of the Giving Tree, ensuring that hundreds of children and families experience the joy and dignity of a meaningful holiday season each year. And whereas her unwavering commitment to student well-being led to her instrumental role in the establishment of a nationally recognized school-based health center at Princeton which continues to provide vital medical services to students and families. And whereas Susan has demonstrated extraordinary character as a servant leader, mother, grandmother, teacher, organizer, community activist, and advocate, having a life of humility, generosity, resilience, even in the face of personal trials. And where her leadership has also extended to the Princeton Board of Education, where she served faithfully for over 14 years, including as president, shaping policies and initiatives and ensure every child receives the support they need to succeed. And whereas her dedication has inspired countless others to give back, and her legacy of kindness, service, advocacy continues to uplift our school and community. Now therefore be it resolved that the Princeton City Schools Board of Education does hereby honor Susan Whiter for her outstanding contributions to education, her extraordinary service to children and families, and her enduring example of character and leadership. We also have, if you were early, we have a vase we will give to the family for Susan. Susan Whiter, 14, served as the Board of Education. And I'd like to also give them a framed copy of our proclamation signed by everybody up here. The bench that we've seen outside the hall will go in front of Viking Village in honor of Susan and Walter Whiter, because you know you're a team, and it takes it.
Although she really don't recognize what it's doing.
Yeah, let's get a picture.
Picture. At this time, we will take a 3-minute break.
The board wishes to proclaim the following: whereas school bus safety is an American tradition, and whereas we are proud of the drivers who put safety first, and whereas we recognize that community knowledge and support is needed in our effort to provide safe transport of students, and whereas we know that safety depends partly on the continued education of partners, community, and students on safety needs. And whereas our nation is celebrating the week of October 20th to the 24th, 2025 as National School Bus Safety Week with the theme, Safe Rides, Enjoy Heroes. Now therefore be it resolved that the Princeton Board of Education does proclaim the week of October 20 through the 24th, 2025 as National School Bus Safety Week in the Princeton City School District, and encourages the observance of this special time by the cities and villages as well as the parents and residents of the school district to support the safety of our children.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Petter, do we have any visitors today?
You have one paper, yes?
Is the visitor still here?
She is.
Okay. Yes, to the podium. We'll give you a few minutes.
Speaking of bus drivers, I'm pretty sure that you have to have tried out for Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift to be one of those. My kids, we come up for sports, and they know that I will not approach the school when the buses are moving. They haul out of there like, bam, like a moving train. Anyway, hi, I'm Angela Solomon. I live in Glendale. We've been there for 5 years, and I'm a homeschool mom in the district. We have 5 kids. 2 have graduated, and 3 are still, they won't leave. We participate in sports at Princeton. We are big-time volunteers, and I've been on the Princeton Athletic Boosters. First, I just want to say thank you. When I come to these meetings, wait, did my time start? Shoot, pause. I'm so impressed by the things that happen in the district, and people who aren't here listening to what's going on are making a mistake. I think that you get so much information that is so good, so I'm so thankful. I have spoken with some of you about the reason I'm here, and I am hoping for a policy change to allow all students in the district to participate in curricular classes, maybe also co-curricular, because I don't really know the difference, in all of the levels of school in the district. 3 of the 5 school districts that surround us welcome and even invite homeschool students into their classrooms at all levels, elementary all the way through high school. And I know that the diversity brought by participation of homeschoolers and maybe private schoolers, I don't know, but if we open it up, we'll see what happens, will benefit the homeschool students, of course, because they're exposed to so many opportunities that they don't have at home. But also the public school students and the educators will really see the benefit of the diversity that will happen in the mix of that. I'm certain that coaches, the athletic department, Mr. Roberts, and families that our homeschool athletes have encountered would attest to the ease and the benefits of having us on their teams. I only know of maybe 3 or 4 families that have participated, but they have been the students who earn awards at the award banquets. My children have earned the Viking Awards. One of the girls on the swim team has a day in her honor in Springdale. Alice does. And so I think that we will be the easiest addition to Princeton schools. We love Princeton. We really love Princeton. I am certain that Princeton loves us back, because how could they not? I think that we would just benefit from participating more. Every time I drive past those schools, I pray for us, I'm delighted by us, I'm championing the kids and the teachers, and so I'm just asking for a change. Thank you.
Thank you. Three B.
B, you'll see the Princeton School Strategic Plan, something that we are doing at this point. If you look down through the list, you'll see a letter at the end of everything we put on here. If you hit that strategic plan, you can see what the letters stand for, and then you can also see where you need to go if you want to read the strategic plan online. So that we'll have that in there each meeting, so you'll know what those letters mean and where you can go to learn more on our website.
Okay. 4, executive session. Do I have a motion?
Move that we go into executive session to discuss under sections 121.22G1 to consider the employment and compensation of a public employee, and 8, to consider confidential information related to the marketing plan, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance or to negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance, assuming all conditions apply of the Ohio Revised Code.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Mrs. Petter?
Mrs. Cleveland?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Ely?
Yes.
Mr. Simons?
Yes.
Mrs. Kessler?
Yes.
Motion passes. We are adjourned to executive session. For the approval.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Mrs. Petter?
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Ely?
Yes.
Mr. Simons?
Yes.
Mrs. Kessler?
Yes.
Mrs. Cleveland?
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 6, district business, approval of the September 2025 financial report. Need a motion?
I move to approve the September 2025 financials report as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
The numbers for September are included in your packet here. Credit card report. The rebate is held till the next month because it's a month in arrears and we had a low August. Reconciliation, bank statements, investment statements, everything included. And then your 018 fund, corporate fund, starting to get some activity in that, so you'll see the transactions piling in here, so that you'll see the revenue and the expenses, each listed here. I removed the previous month's expenses and revenues. I keep on any purchase orders, so you can review that. Then the other 2 funds that we're listing are the 003 fund and the 070 fund as those expenses come in. Again, this is the $4 million we moved into each of these at the end of June when we thought we were going to have a cash balance limitation from the legislature. It's still in play. Don't worry. It still could happen. We will work and see. As soon as the forecast is approved, we'll put together the numbers in the monthly report that you normally receive that show how we're standing up against that forecast. So you'll see in that extra report next time.
Any questions? If not,
Mrs. Ely?
Yes.
Mr. Simons?
yes.
Mrs. Kessler?
Yes.
Mrs. Cleveland?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Motion approved. Approval of the financial forecast and capital spending plan.
I move to approve the financial forecast and capital spending plans as presented.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded.
Okay, here is our forecast. Not at the end of November, but mid-October. Next year, the first forecast of the fiscal year will be due by the end of August. This one was a challenge because, you know, typically I have all our October numbers for salary and benefits, which are, you know, is a key line in our expenses. So look forward to possibly some updates there. You have my little slides for everyone else? Little slides? All 50 of them?
Timer starts now.
Okay, so I put together a short slideshow here, some of the slides you're really used to seeing. Again, as I said, I think we're going to do this more often with the changes that have taken place with the forecast. Saying cutting 5 out of the forecast is really hard because I've been saying it for way too long. But here's the chart that we all know and love.
And I think we probably expected to see a little more relief from our $12.8 million levy, but we still need to celebrate the passage of that $12.8 million levy and thank our taxpayers. That was a phenomenal feat for this community, and again, you'll see on another chart what a difference it is making. We will only potentially have one fiscal year that we get out of deficit spending, where we have more revenue coming in that fiscal year than going out, and that will be next year, the first year of full collection. So this year, fiscal year 26, we're just a tad under, making it nice and even with our revenue expenses. That's because we only get half that collection in this fiscal year. Counties run on calendar year fiscal years. School districts run July 1, June 30. So they give us our new money starting in January, which is halfway through our fiscal year. And then you see the blue line, which is the impact of the cash balance, because once again, and it's just going to be a theme for school districts around the state, and we're going to probably hear stories that we haven't heard for forever. The next slide is just the revenue donut and shows the breakdown of how we earn our money or receive our money. And of course, we are a real estate tax for our district. State funding is not where we earn our bread and butter by any means. And those local taxes also include PUP. We do not have an income tax. State funding is not going up for us this year. The biennial budget did put in place the final 2 years, but the fact that they did not add the base cost increases really hurts the formula. So the base costs are the variables in the formula that should grow with inflation. So we are stuck using fiscal year 22 salary data, and every teacher in the state and every employee in the state is not making what we made in fiscal year 22. We've all seen some increases, but the state's only going to pay us based on a fiscal year 22 salary. So those are just, and it goes with the benefits and all the other kinds of variables used to build this formula. Now, the really cool thing is they did, of course, update the things that hurt getting money. So, of course, the valuation numbers were all updated. And what's happened to valuations in the last 4 or 5 years? Those have gone up considerably. And the formula that the state uses says if you have the ability, i.e. valuation, in place to raise money locally, we're going to give you less money in a state formula. So a district like Princeton, we have a lot of valuation. We have residential valuation, we have industrial and commercial valuation, and we come across as a very wealthy district on the books by those 2 indicators. And that's one of the bases for the formula. So those were updated. Also, the income levels for everybody were updated. And of course, over the last several years, people's incomes have been increasing. So those kind of things really hurt this funding formula when you only update certain parts and certain variables in a formula. So, we would have assumed that since the formula was fully 83% funded this year, full funded next year, that we would see growth. But you'll see in a couple of the other slides that we do not see growth. So the other thing, so we're watching all this legislation like crazy right now. This is where we sit right now, what we know right now. Any of these property tax things that they're talking about in Columbus that go through will change. One of the issues they're talking about now, one of the laws, it could have impacts back to 24. They're going to retro back revenues, cut revenues based on numbers from 24 being updated. This is a really volatile time, and I think it's really hard to try to forecast what our property taxes are gonna look like. But we go based on what is in law right now, and that's what we have right now. If it changes, we will adjust the forecast, we will adjust the appropriation and certificate, and everything will balance, and I'll ask you to approve it again. So one of the, Ernie Strasser has worked with the district and, you know, was one of the originators of the forecasting software we have, a lot of us use. He said, just put it in your monthly report and do one every month. I mean, if it gets that crazy, we will look at something like that. But hopefully we can make and continue to make some strides and having legislators listen to us. We did a pretty good job with the biennial budget. We did suffer a couple veto setback, but we just have to keep working, and there might be other legislation that adjusts even that veto. So hang on, nothing big has changed. One thing has changed. One law was passed this summer that affected public utility, personal property tax. Remember in December when they cut the valuation, 22 million, and didn't tell us till December, and it impacted us in January, and it happened 3 years ago? So now the new law says that all new valuation dollars for public utility personal property will be at 30%. So that begins in 2027. So I've taken the forecast for those revenue increases and slashed it by 70%. So we'll see that in the out years. That is a law that was passed, and that is in the forecast. Doesn't take effect until fiscal year 28, calendar year 27, fiscal year 28. State funding formula I talked about, the no base increases, just painful. We'll have to keep working on that next biennial budget. That's something we really have to work on to make the formula viable. The base costs have to be increased. This adding on, what they did, you remember, this gave us X number of dollars per kid this year, X dollar. That doesn't make a formula. That's just them deciding how much money they have and dividing it by the number of kids in the state. TPP phase out, yes, still happening. You can see that. That's in that state share of local property taxes line, $922,000 a year. That's why that one line goes down a bit. Fiscal year 31 will be the last year we receive any reimbursement from TPP phase out. Key revenue assumptions that we have. The next is our expenditure donut. You know, this one's probably like every school district in the state of Ohio, somewhere between 70 and 80% in personnel costs, salary and benefits. Our purchase services is another chunk for us. Remember those big items in there that our people include transportation, substitutes, and all the people we purchase to help us through the ESCs.
And the transportation to private and parochial schools.
Oh, yeah, that's included in our first student. You know, we do get some money from the state, but for transportation, but that's still a big cost to a school district. And then the little tiny items of supplies and materials. So expenditure, things we need to keep in the back of our mind when we talk about the forecast. We are the last year of both of our negotiated agreements. So after fiscal year 26, there are no base increases in the forecast. This is how Princeton has done it for as long as I know. So any increase in bases increases the salary line. It increases the benefit line because retirement, Medicare, workers' comp are all based on salaries. So when salaries go up, those are percentages of salary. So those lines go up. I believe next work session, I'll be bringing you a couple examples of a 1% base increase looks like this, a 2% like we have done in the past. We'll be ready to show you that impact on the bottom line. You can see when you look at our charts, the salaries are relatively flat between last year and this year. And remember, that's because of the reductions that we made, and those were done via attrition. So you can see that flatness. If you look at our salaries, they were always trending up in a nice easy grade, you know, but you can see that savings there. Purchase services, as I mentioned, purchase services, supplies, and capital outlay areas in the forecast. We moved expense from the forecast general fund into the capital outlay fund and the 070 fund because of those transfers. So when we moved the money out last year, the expense goes with it. So that provides that relief. We're not, putting money into funds that we're never going to spend. We're going to take relief from the general fund from those moves. So that'll be a new process that we're doing. We're getting used to and working with all the wonderful people over here as we do purchase orders to make sure we get the appropriate fund number. General fund is 001. Those expenses are not going in there. We're coding everything to the 070 capital outlay or the 003 permanent improvement. So the textbook adoption, the technology adoptions, those are all expenses that we've already moved out this year. When you see too, when you see the forecast line, you'll see capital, and it has zeros across it. So you can see that drop there. The debt service payment is also something that's newer to the forecast. It's updated there also. This chart, I don't think we've used before. This is showing a revenue surplus. So the dotted line is the May forecast, and the solid line is the current forecast. I like this one because it helps us remember why our cash balance went down at the end of last year, and it's that $8 million transfer to those two funds. I think it's really important to remember that that wasn't money that went out the door. It's just sitting in a different spot, and expenses that came out of the general fund, which is the forecast fund, are now going to move into those. I think it's really important that our community understands that that money's not just being socked away for a rainy day. We did that with intent. We were afraid the legislature was going to say you have to cap your cash balance at 40%, at 50%, or whatever it was. And at that time, at the end of last year, we would have had too much money. We had a plan for that money. We had purpose and intent for that money. And we knew we were on the downward cycle of a levy cycle and that it was going to go. So I think this is going to be one of the harder things to explain when people see that change. And we just have to remember that we did it for a reason. We're going to spend the money. It will relieve the forecasted general fund from some expense. Okay? But you can see, this is, I think, one of the charts, too, that possibly the auditor of state is using for its fiscal awards that it's giving. And so, the goal is to stay up in the green, or maybe you dip into the yellow, but you certainly try to stay out of the red. So already, we were going to be in the red until we passed the levy. And so you can already see in fiscal year 26, we're already on the upswing. Cash on hand is a chart you're very familiar with. How many, if the revenue money, or if the revenue turns off, how many days can we pay the bills? Okay, so the green was what it looked like in May. And again, we moved $8 million out of the general fund into those other two funds. And so that's why in October, why those numbers are down a little bit, okay? Then the next chart talks about enrollment. This is getting fun, isn't it? Yeah. Kim had her first Chris experience when I went in her office, because the first set of numbers I looked at, she was getting ready to do another upload of EMA State. I was like, where'd all those kids go?
Yeah.
And so she said to me, hold on, I'm submitting on Friday. And we're only down 100 kids. It was more than that. So our enrollment is so transitionary. It's a really fun target to hit. Mm-hmm. In the out years, it's really hard to guess, because look at 22 and 23, and look how we popped up in 24. Wow, 25, we saw a little bit of a decrease, and then I'm just trying to decide whether I leave it flat or I make the guess the wrong way, right? We do know that birth rates are down.
Okay.
So certainly, I don't know that we're going to show an increase on enrollment.
These numbers don't include Scarlet, is that correct?
No.
So if
These
we have
are-
an increased enrollment at Scarlet, which is a positive,
That is,
Oh, that's right.
then they're still Princeton, but they're not counted in our enrollment number.
yes, and we're at that part of the year too, where we're gonna start seeing students graduate from the Innovation Center, which decreases enrollment. So, and that's not a bad thing either. I mean, those are things we just have to remember that are Princeton advantages. We can meet your needs, and if you can graduate early, we allow you to graduate early. So,
We might, for our purposes, capture what those two variables
Numbers
are.
yes.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
Scarlet numbers would be important.
Right,
Or,
should-
or unless people are pulling out, going to private and parochial.
I think that's potentially, that's potentially an option. I don't know. I think the birth rate is something that we're going to be seeing. We're not getting as many. However, I think our kindergarten number was good. So I think it's just gonna be something we need to look at. And
What?
maybe an enrollment, it's been a while since we've done an enrollment study.
I say, can we do another study?
Yeah, we
Because
need
maybe
another
it's
study.
time.
But we're not any different than other districts.
Oh,
And-
this isn't unusual? Okay.
No, I think they're just, people aren't having as many children as they used to. So that will be something we should look at. I think that enrollment studies can get very specific census data that would help us, certainly data from counties about birth rates.
It does.
And,
Might be time to go ahead and do another one.
and Elgin,
Sure,
we
yes.
have the name of that vendor that we have used in the past, unless you know someone else. But I think this is going to be very interesting. Again, we are a formula district. This will impact what we receive from the state as these numbers go up and down a bit. But just another area and challenge that we always have when trying to forecast what kind of revenue is coming in. The next chart is the cost per pupil. Now, don't get all upset about last year, because what did we do at the end of June? We moved $8 million.
Yes, you did.
We moved $8 million out of the general fund, which is the fund used in this calculation.
Make sure I'm reading this right. In 2021, it cost $14,000 to educate a student
At Princeton.
at Princeton. And then year 2026 is gonna cost $18,357.
Yep.
Okay, just wanna make
That's
sure
the
I'm
projection.
understanding
Mhm.
what I'm looking at.
If we take that $8 million out, the cost to educate a student last year at Princeton was $18,100. So that $8 million out was impactful. We just have to remember to tell the story, okay?
I think the question that most people have when they see these numbers, and I don't know how to tell this part of the story is, so what is the difference in what we're providing that demonstrates the increase in costs? And that has more to do with the story that people really want to hear.
Right.
And I think it may be worth it for us to take some time at some point to start to develop that story so
Yeah.
that we can answer that question.
We're investing in our kids.
Because there is an investment, but we need to be able to share clearly
Why? and
what that return on investment is and why these numbers are where they are from 21 to 26.
Because for many parents, this might be impressive.
So I'll just say, when you look at some of the schools around us,
They don't
Wyoming
spend
spends
that
more
much
than
money.
we do.
Wyoming spends more? Okay.
Yes, it just depends on, I would just say, this is the Princeton advantage.
It is, but we need to be able to
Yes.
say that because we
Yes.
know what other districts are paying. Most of our
comparison.
Yeah, they don't know. They
They
don't
don't
know
have
the
the program
comparison.
for
They don't
that.
have the information. All they see is what we're providing in terms of our district. And so I would love for us to start to demonstrate that the value you're getting, in terms of when you say yes to our levies, is that, one, we are very good stewards with the money that you provide us, and in comparison, we're giving you this much more for that same dollar.
Yeah.
That's what they need to see and hear.
And I think
Yeah,
our academic,
they need to
our academic outcomes are showing that a little bit. So we have to make sure they understand that,
Right,
that does help.
exactly.
And the number that stands out for me, what percentage of our graduating seniors graduate from high school with enough credits to be a sophomore in college? I mean, that's a story people don't hear and don't know. It's a real big advantage, Princeton advantage. It cost us, but I think it's worth it.
And then, this is the last chart, 2 more charts. Daily cost to educate a student, so this is the one where you talk to your taxpayer and your community. So it costs us $102 a day to educate a kid, and we think that's a pretty good return on investment. And then the other chart is what residential property owners pay is the 24%. And the other is the commercial, industrial, state, federal, all those other sources. So the residents of the community are paying 24% of that cost. That's pretty low too. I do need to check. Remember, when we went to before we passed the levy, we were like in the bottom 50 in the state of
Yeah.
cost to the resident. Well, I'll get that new number now that I'll have to wait till January, till it actually hits. And we'll see where we are now. We're still gonna be very, very low. And then the final is we always take it back to, okay, here's where we are. Let's look out at 2030, where we're going to be. We've talked a little bit about possibly revisiting our cash policy. And based on some of the legislation, is 90 days too much? What do we feel with the legislation that's in place right now? Do we want to dial it back to 60? I think the other thing that we need to talk about on the cash policy is we don't indicate on this forecast at all that we have too much money by any means in cash. We just don't. But if we did come to a point where we were at, say, 50, 60, 70% cash, what would we then do? Some of the districts have ceiling limits also, that if we reach this, we will move the money to permanent improvement or the capital outlay fund and put it back into the buildings. We could have plans like that. That is something I think we need to look at and just be prepared for in case this legislation comes back about this cash balance. The number floating around now is 100%. I can't imagine a day that we're gonna end up with, that'd be over $100 million in our bank account. I can't imagine this district ever. I don't think taxpayers would do it. But there are districts that sit with 100% of their cash in play. They have plans for them. They might build out of their general fund. They might do a lot of different things out of their general fund, and they have a plan. But right now, the legislature is kind of frowning on that, so we need to be kind of prepared to act.
I would definitely like to see us start some conversations about capping, what that would look
Yeah.
like for us,
I think it's proactive,
It is
right?
proactive, because I don't think they're gonna stop. We're gonna see something come out of that. We just don't know what that will be. But if we're proactive about it, then we're already prepared.
So the 25-page report is attached in board docs. I also sent it to your email, so you can read the 25. This is what goes to the state. This is the forecast. This gets sent off in an SUV and is uploaded as the forecast. This document is known as the notes. It also gets sent to the state. And so those will go up tomorrow in order to meet the 15th deadline. Okay.
So when will we start seeing these ceiling ornaments? Is that what you called it? Maybe I didn't hear it right.
I think we should talk about the policy and see if we want to put ceilings in there and what the limits are and what we would do if we ever did come to a point where we would have that much cash.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't, I mean, that would mean we'd have to pass a levy tomorrow and just start building. It's just not the time for that.
Okay.
So, and then I'll talk later in my treasurer's report about some of the legislation.
Thank you.
Oh, and then, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned too, you have the two capital outlay plans. Capital outlay 070 fund, permanent improvement 003 fund, and that's 10 years of data. Our best guesses and estimates at this time of what that would look like. And, you know, once you get past 4 or 5 years, a lot of things can happen. So, but we're going to do that. Everyone loves that we're planning like that, especially since we've moved that money out of the general fund into those two funds. I think we need to be very accountable with those plans and show we're doing the work to spend that money.
Thank you for the report.
Call it. Mr. Simons?
Yes.
Mrs. Kessler?
Yes.
Mrs. Cleveland?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Ely?
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to the medical dental rates.
I move to approve the final medical dental rates as presented effective January 1, 2026.
Second.
Ms. Mary.
This is an annual item. This year, we had a new challenge as the benefit committee. We had an over 15% increase. Both negotiated agreements have in them that anything over 7.5 requires plan changes. So the committee did a great job working together and ended up choosing which form of out-of-pockets deductibles would be increased and what areas to get to that 7.5%. You have both those, the new plan, the old plan and new plan on here. We're still a very competitive plan, and the new rates associated with that. We have to have these, of course, as soon as possible, because 2 weeks from today, we start open enrollment for all our medical, dental, and other benefits people might select to be ready to go 1/1/26. Mrs. Kessler?
Yes.
Mrs. Cleveland?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Ely?
Yes.
Mr. Simons?
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on to the contract with A-List Transportation. Motion?
I move to approve the contract with A-List Transportation as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
This is a renewal contract we have with some of our students who can't get on the buses, so another company we work with to allow them to get there. Maybe it's medical issue, a false placement outside, different reasons why somebody we want to renew it. We've used them in the past.
Okay. Any other questions? Ms. Petter?
Mrs. Cleveland?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Ely?
Yes.
Mr. Simons?
Yes.
Mrs. Kessler?
Yes.
Motion passes. E, resolution to authorize the treasurer to collect funds that are unclaimed.
I move to approve the resolution to authorize the treasurer to collect unclaimed funds from the state of Ohio as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
This is just a requirement. The state auditor let us all know, public school districts and local governments, that if you had any unclaimed funds, we had a couple. It's less than $1,000, but there's a lot of process and procedure to go through to get that $1,000, and this is the final item, and we'll be able to collect that money.
All right. Any other questions? Ms. Beck?
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Ely?
Yes.
Mr. Simons?
Yes.
Mrs. Kessler?
Yes.
Mrs. Cleveland?
Yes.
Motion passes. F, approval of the quote from AE Learning.
I move to approve the quote from Edia Learning as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Carr.
This is the math program for our Yale students. About 100 will do this pilot. We come out of Title III funds, so just for our Princeton Community Middle School Yale student will be taking part in that, and some teacher professional development on it as well.
Will it be used in the IC?
Middle school right now. The pilot piece.
Okay. Any other questions? If not,
Mrs. Ely?
Yes.
Mr. Simons?
yes.
Mrs. Kessler?
Yes.
Mrs. Cleveland?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 7, academic update. Mr. Carr.
Mrs. Stiles from the CIA department will come up to talk about our numbers in advanced placement AP, International Baccalaureate IB, and their College Credit Plus CCP courses.
Good evening, everyone. For the first slide, we have the enrollment and demographic breakdown for our AP, IB, and for our CCP classes. The next slide, we have special recognitions, and I just want to make note of for both AP Scholar with honors and AP Scholar with distinction, we have shown increases in both of those numbers for this most recent school year. We also had 4 students that were named as the National Merit Commended Scholars in 2025, and we do have 7 IB full diploma candidates. 3 of them are juniors, and 4 of them are seniors for this year. So we are excited to see that.
I'm sorry, I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem.
Such good news.
For our AP assessments, we did have the summary of our scores that is on a scale of 1 to 5, and so we have the 3-year trend. We did see increases in 8 of our tested subjects, so we were excited to see that. I did also share the 5-year AP score summary, so what you will see with that is we are reducing the amount of students who are scoring 1s and 2s, and we are increasing the number of students who are getting 3, 4s, and 5s, those passing scores. Additional AP celebrations are listed on the left-hand side. We did have 100% of our students pass the chemistry, drawing, and physics AP exam, and we have increased 32% of our overall passing rate from 2021 until now. Oops. For our IB assessment, out of 7, we did show increases in 3 of our tested subjects. Some of those numbers are a little bit lower, so 1 or 2 students can cause those numbers to fluctuate a little bit more than in our AP assessments. We also have the 5-year IB score summary. Again, some of those exams have dropped from the 24 to the 25 school year, so we are continuing to look at ways to increase the enrollment with our IB courses. Some of our celebrations, we did have 100%, we did have a student receive the full IB diploma in the class of 2025, so we were excited to see that. And then we had 100% of our students pass in several of our tested subjects this past year. We continue to look for ways to improve our scores. We do send our teachers to the AP and the IB training to make sure that they are certified to teach those classes. As new training comes about, we try to send teachers, we're sending some to the extended essay workshop because we know that that's an area, when we look at our results, that's an area of growth. We want to make sure that we are extending that as much as possible, especially to some of our newer teachers. And any other professional learning opportunities, I know Ms. Ritzy does a great job kind of researching that to see what's available. We do look for virtual options first, just to be fiscally responsible, and then when those are not available, we make sure that we send our teachers to the locations that they need in order to get that training. On the left-hand side, we do continue to layer our AP and our IB courses, as well as our SL and HL, our standard level and higher level courses for our IB classes to increase that scheduling flexibility. And then from a standard standpoint, when our AP and our IB classes align, we make sure that we try to pair those up together because we know that the students will get the same type of content. We are not able to do that with CCP, AP, and IB because it's against CCP guidelines. And then on the right-hand side, as you guys heard in one of our last reports, we do have the college, career, military, and workforce readiness report card component, and we did have 25 students from the class of 2025 get a 3 or higher or a 4 or higher on the IB and 3 or more exams. So we are excited to celebrate that. As far as CCP, we did share the enrollment data. So from 2021 until now, we have shown increases. I do want to note that for the 25-26 school year, that is only for first semester, so those numbers will increase once we look at our second semester data. And then also we started last year partnering with Miami Regional Campus, and we do have one student that is expected to earn their associate's degree from Miami this year. And we have 3 students, 3 juniors that join that program and are expected to get their associate's degree from Miami for next year. And our partnerships are with UC, Cincinnati State, and Miami. In addition, we do currently have 10 teachers that are certified to teach our CCP courses, and I have those courses listed on the left. And then on the right-hand side, through a partnership that we have with Hamilton County ESC, they obtained a very substantial grant and are partnering with several local districts in the Hamilton County area, and we are able to have 8 teachers that are working towards their credentials so that they will be qualified to teach CCP as well. The programs that they are in are listed below. We will not know the exact courses that they will be qualified to teach until they complete that program. We submit that to Cincinnati State, and then the department chairs from Cincinnati State will let us know what specific courses those teachers will be certified in once they complete their 18 hours of coursework.
Ms. Stiles?
Yes.
I think at one point we had 10, right?
We actually, at one point, we had 11. We did
11,
have
okay.
3 withdraw from the program based on timing
I told the
and
board 10 at
availability.
one point, but we had a couple. some
Yes, we
dropouts.
did unfortunately have a few withdraw based on the timelines. They weren't able to fit into their schedules. And then degrees and certifications, as I mentioned before, we do have a couple of students that are on track to earn their Miami Associate's degree. We did also have 2 students in the class of 2022 that earned their Ohio Transfer 36, and what the Ohio Transfer 36 is, those core classes that are applicable to almost any major that a student would go into. That's a certificate that's becoming increasingly popular because it applies to many different programs. We had 2 students earn that in the class of 2022, and we have 1 student that is on track to earn that for the class of 2026. We also will have 1 student in the class of 2026 earn their Deaf Studies certificate from Cincinnati State, and also a part of our college, career, military, workforce readiness report card component, 27 students from the class of 2025 earned 12 or more college credits when they were in their high school career. Any questions?
Can we take your whole report and turn it into a commercial or
I
something?
was sure,
I
I'd be
mean,
happy to do that.
Those numbers are very impressive. Thank you.
Teachers work very hard. One of them sitting in our audience right now. Give the credit for chemistry on that one. Lots of great work.
Thank you for all that you do.
I have a question. So of last year's graduating class, how many of those CCP students had enough credits to be sophomores?
I don't have that information, but I can look to see how many earned enough credits to have sophomore status. It also does depend on which college they applied to and of that college, which ones they were willing to accept. So I would have to look into that to see.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
No problem.
And I just have a quick question too. You listed the 3 colleges that secondary, that we have partnerships with, UC, Cincinnati State, and Miami. Do we ever look to do more?
We have partnered with Sinclair in the past. We have found that through our partnership with Cincinnati State, they have been very flexible with working with our teachers to be able to credential them. But we're definitely open to opportunities if there are interests. Sinclair, I know, is another popular one that a lot of districts partner with, so we can certainly look and see what courses they offer. But Cincinnati State has been able to meet our needs based on the courses that interest our students right now, but we can certainly look into more.
And
I'm
I
just
did-
curious, and then to that end, benchmarking with some of the districts around us to see what partnerships they have that could be beneficial to our students as well.
I did send you an email today about the Oaks. You'd asked about the Oaks.
Right.
And talked about they worked with Sinclair and what classes. They had 2 classes in-house and the rest were online. So that was a question you had in the past, so I emailed you that today.
Okay. Well, I bring that up because of the work at the Oaks. I hear from so many other districts, some of the things that are going on in there, and I'm always saying, well, we're better.
And we are.
And we got the
And we
numbers
are.
to prove it.
And I'm saying that
Yes.
on camera, we are better. But to that end, if there's something going on out there that we should know about or could emulate, then definitely, I want to make sure we're doing that.
Absolutely.
And to follow on with that question, if I choose to go to Scribe, can I still take CCP classes?
Yes, they have, as Mr. Card said, there's 2 there. They have the English Comp 1 and English Comp 2 that is taught in person.
Right.
They also have several that are online that that the students can take. They are also in a partnership where their teachers, more and more teachers are earning their credentials so that they can take CCP courses. So they have some available, not as many as we do on campus here.
Right.
But they are working to increase that, similar to how we're working to
They're
increase that.
working really hard to increase it. It was one of those things, I think, that came from the partnering schools to say, this is what we're doing at our schools. We'd like to see that at Great Oaks. And so now they are going full steam ahead in terms of trying to get more and more. So, yeah.
Excellent, excellent.
And you might have touched on this, but I'm not quite sure how to phrase it. How do we compare as a school district when you measure the number of our teachers who are willing to take the time to get CCP certified compared to other school districts? Per capita, per student, you know what I'm trying to say?
We are definitely on the higher end. I have a spreadsheet that was shared by Lori Mancini, who's our partner within Hamilton County ESC, that has all of the districts that are participating in the grant. I know that we are on the higher end. We were initially only allotted 6 spots, but based on our enrollment, that's how they decided it at the county. But because other districts didn't fill up all of their spots, Lori reached back out and said, is anyone else interested? I said, yes, definitely us. So that's how we were able to move it from 6 initially all the way up to 11, but then unfortunately it did drop down to 8 based on the timing and the availability. So we are definitely on the higher end, number one, because we are one of the larger districts of some of the districts that decided to participate, but also we took advantage of the opportunity that if some of the other districts didn't have that interest, we
I think that's a real good
did.
selling point because it shows the pedagogy and concern and the extra time that employee who's a teacher at Princeton is willing to take for the good in the long run of our students. And I'm not quite sure how to brag about that, but
I mean, if they
think
have
it's-
to get 18 hours, that's a big ask. So
Yeah,
it is great to have 8 teachers that are willing to do that.
What's the whiffum for the teacher to do that? I mean, does he or she get extra pay?
Well,
I mean, are they
the
called a
coursework is
master
paid
teacher?
for.
Huh?
The coursework with the grant, the coursework is paid for, so that's definitely appealing to the teachers. That's
Yeah.
been definitely one of the reasons why a lot of teachers haven't gone back, is because it's quite costly.
cost of
And so because Hamilton County was awarded that grant, that's why a lot of our teachers did jump on board to do that coursework.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope they're celebrated, because I think that's wonderful, because they make it easier for the students to take advantage of it.
Yes, absolutely, I agree.
Thank you.
Mr. Simons, the CCP at the Oaks here, is what I said today, English Comp 1 and 2 is in-house, online, college algebra, stats and probability, government, sociology, psychology, and biology. So those can be online at the Oaks.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that email, too. That was
Yeah.
good information.
Do we ever recognize teachers who do extra stuff like that? I mean, could we, Mr. Card, at board meeting or something?
I'm not saying we can't.
Oh,
I think it is a lift.
Yeah.
And I think the positive thing is, right now, we had 8 that's getting paid for, which is a
Yeah.
positive.
It's a
But there's
win-win.
some things you have to do, and we got teachers. I mean, I really pushed, because we talked about it a
You
lot.
did that,
And,
thank you.
Ms. Stiles and Ms. Westwright and the team was able to get the grant, first of all, and get some extra, and then that helped us. So hopefully, in another year or so, they'll be ready to go, and we can add some classes.
That's
the goal.
great. Thank you. And the IB and everything, those numbers, I listen to NPR in the afternoon on the way home from work, and there's this one private parochial school that shall remain nameless that brags about having an IB program. And I know we've had it longer than any other school, high school in southwestern Ohio, with the exception of Withrow, and I don't know if they still have it. But, yeah, thank you very much for these numbers.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dow.
Reports, treasurer reports?
A couple legislative items. Veto item number 66 impacts the levy we passed in May. So it was a 10-year emergency levy, and we will not be able to renew that. We will not be able to convert it to a substitute. It will, in essence, go away at the end of 10 years, and then we would have to run a new levy in its place. So one of the highlights of running an emergency levy certainly would be that you could convert it, and that is no longer something we can do. Bond counsel, I checked with Brad Ruey on that, and he's like, they're just not helping us right now.
I had the same conversation
Because, you know,
last
I think we did actually choose that because we had heard from so many of our taxpayers
Yeah,
that
we did.
that they didn't want to pass another continuing, so that was an option, so. House Bill 186, you've been hearing probably a ton about, that does not impact Princeton. We're not at the 20-mil floor, so there's literally no loss. I did Butler, Warren, and Hamilton counties just because I'm always curious. No impact to Princeton because we are not at the 20-mil floor. House Bill 309 is the one we have to watch for too, and Katie at OASBO says that the board members should be fired up about this one because it's literally taking control away from you. So this allows county budget commissions to reduce our levies.
What?
Yes. So they can decide that they will not give us full collection on some of our levies. They could decide how many mills we should get and how many we should not get. And that takes away the rights of our taxpayers who voted to approve those levies and the boards of education that have placed those levies on the ballot.
This is
So
just an attack on public schools.
This,
I'm sorry.
and
That's
I
all
do
this
believe
is.
we are very lucky in Hamilton County.
We are, though, yeah.
So this has already happened around the state. There are county commissions that have already done this to school districts. Now, there are legal issues potentially, and I think there's getting some pushback on that because, again, it is taking away the will of the taxpayer as a voter and you as a board for placing it on the ballot. So watch that one. Be ready to chime in if need be. Again, our legislators here, our House of Reps and our senators are pretty school friendly. I mean, very much on board. So I don't know how much, Mary will know how much a legislature from the Senate or the House from Northeast Ohio cares about what we have to say, which I don't think they do.
They
since-
don't.
No, they don't.
They don't at all.
So,
I do think it's important, and something I talked about last week at BASA, is even though some of these don't affect us, we all have to fight for all of these
Well, that's the
because
case.
we
Yes,
need
we
other
do.
people to fight for ones that do affect us and not them. So some of the conversations we're having on some of these things, trying to make sure that we're in it together, and that was reiterated very highly.
And not to mention, I mean, we have to be mindful that what's popular today may not be
Yes.
tomorrow for us. And so, you know, we sit back here thinking everything's great in Southwest Ohio, but whatever's happening in other parts of the state could easily impact us tomorrow. So we have to still fight, whether it impacts us today or not.
That's right.
then this handy dandy chart that we have to start getting out, putting out somewhere. Trishati needs to put this out somewhere. This shows the impact of moving the responsibility from the residential taxpayer onto the residential taxpayer away from the commercial and industrial taxpayer. And this is a bad alligator here because this means that the residential taxpayer is now paying way more than the commercial industrial taxpayer.
That's not right.
But that's how laws have been changed. And that's where you see this impact. And, you know, the average homeowner does not know this, right? They just do not notice that every time there are breaks given down here, all of our levies are, we get X. So if a pot of people have to pay for X, and then this group of people is given relief, we still get X. So that means the residential taxpayer is going to pay more, because we're going to get 12.8 million for 10 years. It's just how you're dividing up who pays. We've seen a big shift, and this is not a pretty chart for people to see. So I believe we have to start talking about these things too, and the impact of reduced. I mean, we all love not paying income tax, right?
Yeah.
But because income tax has been reduced so much in the state of Ohio, we still have all kinds of services that are still required, so other taxes pay for them. So someone has to pay. Nothing's free, says the evil treasurer. So
Said the evil treasurer.
So it's just, I think we're all going to start becoming really, really great civics and social studies students.
Yes.
Even if some of us maybe didn't like those classes as much as they liked math and science. So I think we have to continue to use our voices. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Card?
I would say yes, we need to use our voices, continue. We have been with our legislators. We need to continue that. That was the main thing that I was told by Mr. Imhoff was, don't stop. Because it looks decent, don't stop,
Yes,
don't
sir.
stop. So we need to do that. Property tax is a big thing right now. You're reading all about it. I sent you guys a little one-pager yesterday with some very quick facts. I will have a toolkit from Bassett they're giving to us. So when I get that through email, I'll make sure you get it. So it was a pretty good thing you can use and read through it. So it helps us have conversations. That was something that they did I thought was a really good thing. So when I get that, I'll check tomorrow. It should be here this week, they said, through email. So I will make sure you get that along with the cabinet as well, because we're all having those conversations. Thursday night was at OSBA regional meeting in Laurel Oaks and Wilmington. And I want to congratulate Ms. Gina Ruffenmore. It's awarded the Aptitude Award. And that acknowledged her dedication and commitment to excellence in school board service. So it was a good night. So I want to let you know that. I think we put a press release out and put on social media, but I want to say it here on camera. It was a good night. And the one of the other great things, you know, Miss Mary Cleveland's big time as OSB president-elect, but the other good thing that was great that night was our symphonic orchestra was the entertainment leading up to dinner, and they were unbelievable, and everybody walked by all of us, and we heard it once, we heard it 5, 10, 15 times, how great they were. Those are your kids, yeah, those are our kids. So they did a great job. So really excited with Dr. Casey and her team for doing that. Our symphonic choir will be singing at OSBA State Conference coming up here in November. So we're doing that along with 2 or 3 different groups presenting. We have some of our kids and principal going up to be at the Student Achievement Fair. We have art teachers going up. So it's going to be a pretty heavy Princeton day up at OSBA. And we're excited about that. So we're, you know, looking, I'll talk more about that when we get closer, but that's something I wanted to mention because I want to give our people that love, that they did a great job, and very proud of the kids. I sent them an email that night before I left the parking lot, I think. Miss Casey, Dr. Casey, I should say, I'm sorry. Something I got to do over the last couple of weeks was there's a lot of class reunions going on. So it was kind of neat, the class of 90, that was, I forget what that was, a few weeks back. They were meeting at Third Eye over by the high school. So I stopped in there for about 20 or 30 minutes before I went to the football game at Laughlin and got to meet a lot of great people. So that was kind of neat, and heard some stories and just building relationships with that. And then last week, the week before last, Friday before last, the class of 75.
Oh, yes.
Ruffenmore.
Oh,
2000. I was at the tour. We toured Princeton High School, the new Princeton High School complex in Viking Village. My plan was just to greet them and say hi and leave. I ended up staying with Trish and some students, and we took them all through the building. They had a lot of great questions, and something that was great, two different people told me, hey, you know, I know people worry about taxes and stuff, he said, but I'm gonna tell people, you guys are doing a great job. I seen your report card, I seen these great facilities, you're doing a great job with the money you're getting. So that was pretty neat. I said, get on top of the mountain and scream that, I told a young man and a lady. So it was really good just to have those conversations. They were looking for old trophies, and some of them weren't in there, and they were just asking, they really liked the walls, they were looking at valedictorians, and it was just, it was neat. And one of the things that was funny, we came through by the murals, that back door, and the football team was in the grid, library, for those that don't know, some meeting, and then some were in the hallway going through pre-game, and I think they really liked that. The alumni were saying, what do you play? And having conversations, and our kids were walking down to the gym, and they giving them standing ovation, you know, applause. So it was kind of neat just to see that. The kids were smiling, the people were excited, and we won the game, so that's always a good thing as well. Fall sports season is coming to a close. A lot of senior nights coming up. So tomorrow night is senior night for boys soccer. I'll probably be there about 6:45. May start about 7. That's at Sycamore Junior High. It's where they play the soccer games at. So, and then girls volleyball senior night is Thursday here at Viking Village. I'll probably get there about 5:50. We can honor our seniors and all their hard work. So that was a good thing. And then as we have choir and band concerts in full swing, I want to give a shout out to our band. And senior showcase was Friday night at the murals. I didn't get to go to that. I went to the game, couldn't get to both. And but what I heard, it was great, and the pictures I saw were beautiful. And I think it's a more intimate setting. I think people really like that from what I heard from a handful of people. Along with the homecoming parade, we did that around there too a couple weeks ago, and that was a more intimate setting. It was nice. So just a lot of great things going on right now. Our athletic teams are doing well. Football's win 2 more, they win the GMC for the 3rd year in a row. I don't know what we were doing Friday night when we pulled it out, so that's all I care. It was a good thing. And then the last but not least, for our students and parents, fall break is this Friday the 17th through the 20th. So students do not have school Friday the 17th and Monday the 20th. So enjoy those 4 days. It's in the first quarter, come back ready to work. So.
Yeah, sure.
The class of 75 bragged on you profusely
Saturday
night. And I said, who? Who gave you the tour? No.
Well, they did say, they're like, tennis job never done. I said, I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't planning on this. And part of why I stayed, because I started getting in really good conversations.
Yeah.
Then I was like, man, if I go home and sit down, I'm gonna be tired anyways. We're having great conversation, we're talking, helping Miss Trish and a couple of the, I think, was it the leaders of the band that helped do that? It was a good night. I got home about 30 minutes before I had to leave and pick Holly up to take her to the game, go to the game with me, and I told her I just enjoyed it because it's something different. Right. And not knowing any of those folks. One person knew me in the class of 2000. He said, I didn't know him, but I've been around a long time. But I think I had his kid or had his son, brother or something in class. But it was a good time. So. David
Shardlow of Glendale, Gail Riley of Hollydale, and a few others, they just really bragged on, your superintendent gave us a tour. They were just really impressed, and they thanked the school district for doing that.
It's my pleasure, because they had a good time. I had as much fun as they did, so.
Excellent, excellent. Number 9 is the exec session.
Well, I did want to say something
you had
too, real
another
quick.
comment, I'm sorry.
First of all, I want to say thank you to Dr. Casey as well, for having the students come to the Southwest Region Fall Conference. It was about a month or so ago that I got a call or email that said, hey, and I mean, I need to say this because this is how Princeton do things. I get this email saying that, can you see if you can help us get someone to perform at the Southwest Region? It was late one evening, late at night. And so I'm reading this, I'm like, what? Why are we having someone perform? I mean, I didn't understand the question, but I'm like, okay. So I immediately get in touch with Mr. Card here, who says, absolutely, we'll make it happen. So by the next day, we actually had everything set. Princeton moves fast. And I am so proud that we do that. Now, my understanding, normally what happens, just so you know, whoever serves as the president of the Southwest region, they invite their district to perform. I am not the president of the Southwest region, so that's why it was such an odd request. I'm like, you want who to perform? And the reason why they asked Princeton to do it, they could have asked any of the, 50, 70, however many districts that are part of Southwest region to do this, but they asked Princeton because when I was president, our students did such an exceptional job that they kept getting compliments. They always get compliments. So the first district they decided to ask when the president was unable to get his district to do it was Princeton. So I wanted to say that we show up, we show out, and we do exceptionally well. So kudos to our team because of that. 2 days later, I think it was, then I get the message from OSBA saying, we want someone from Princeton to perform. And I was getting confused, like, is this the same people? Who's doing this? And again, late at night. So for the second time, within 2 days, I had to contact to say, we need another performance, but this time at Capitol Conference. Again, we stepped up on that one almost same time frame immediately. And to that end, you know, again, I just have to say kudos to our music department. We are bar none. I mean, again, you're right, there was so many accolades that night, but the accolades came from the time they performed a couple years ago, and it was remembered. And so, again, to Dr. Casey and the team, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And I will give a shout out too, because I went over that day and all the music teachers were in their office end of the day. And I said, who's got this? And they figured it out. They all, okay. Went back 2 days later. I need another one. Boom, boom. And I'll give Mr. Fricky some love because Mr. Fricky and I, Miss Mary Slaughter, worked together to make sure that they had food when they were traveling up. We got them some box lunch. Miss Slaughter worked on that. Mr. Fricky got the buses. You know, it's hard to get buses that time of day. Mr. Fricky got the buses. So kudos to him for being that great teammate, and Miss Slaughter and others to get that done quick. So I just kind of made the request and they jumped on it and I said, here's what I need, and
and I do have to say real quick, because I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, thank you to Great Oaks too. Because during that I had to contact them once we realized there's no place to eat.
Oh, yeah.
If you've not been to Wilmington, to Laurel Oaks specifically, it's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there is nothing around there. And so the question was, well, where can our kids eat? And initially we thought they could eat at the event, but we realized that wasn't going to work. And so immediately I contact Great Oaks to say, hey, we've got a busload coming. I don't know where they can eat, what can they do? And they stepped in immediately as well and provided space. And anyway, it was a good coordination between everyone to make it happen, but I wanted to make sure everyone understood the reason why we were invited was because our students do so well. I mean, it didn't take the adults, it's the students and what they are achieving. So again, we get the opportunity to see them again at Capitol Conference. I will say at the Southwest region, people were asking, we hear they're gonna be performing, and I said, yes, they will, but this time it's gonna be a cappella. Yeah, and so again, kudos to our team. I also want to say that I did attend the Southeast region and the Central region's fall conferences this year. And now that I've seen what others do, I can definitively say we are the best.
What's the saying? What's the saying? Southwest
is the best.
Best.
I can definitively say that. I mean, theirs were nice, but ours was much better. I mean, much better on so many different levels. And so, again, it's great to be part of not only such a wonderful district, but also a part of the state that shows up really, really well. So, again, I just want to share that, you know, that, again, now that I've seen what happens in other parts of the state, I'm going to continue to say that we are the best.
And I think the choir had their concert on Thursday night when the orchestra went, so I had emailed Mr. Mr. Hurley, and I said, hey, make sure the kids know why I'm not there. I have to be at this. I always wanted to know, 'cause I like to be there when I can be. And he said, we know you'd be here, but you get to hear it at the Capitol Conference. I said, let's go, so.
Thank you. And then, real quick, for those who keep up with what's happening at Great Oaks as well, I wanted to give them kudos because they did receive 5 stars. It's worth stating that, you know, that's huge as well. And so I want to also celebrate the accomplishment of the students at Great Oaks and what they've done to achieve those 5 stars. One thing I would love to do going forward is to start providing this board with a better way of capturing the report so that you guys can see some of the great work that are in, because I'm asking them now to give the boards that are part of Great Oaks more in-depth information so that we can start to share it. So I want to make sure I start doing that because I think it's important to recognize the accomplishments of our students over there as well.
Yeah, and just so you know, I talked with Mr. Harry today about the personnel report and getting a little blurb. We'll talk
Right.
about that. We talked today.
And we're going to make sure that happens
talk
too.
to them
So
about
again, it's more to come, but I just wanted to at least give recognition for the hard work that they've done over there as well. That's it.
Okay. Executive session number 9. Need a motion?
We're going into
If you make the motion.
If I make the motion.
If
Is it this, well, it's the same though. I
Yes.
move that we go into executive session to discuss under sections 121.22 G1 to consider the employment and compensation of a public employee, and 8, to consider confidential information related to the marketing plan, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance or to negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance, assuming all conditions apply of the Ohio Revised Code.
Second? Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved and second. Mrs. Better?
Mr. Simons?
Yes.
Mrs. Kessler?
Yes.
Mrs. Cleveland?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Ely?
Yes.
Motion passes. We're adjourned to executive session. There will not be any actionable items afterwards. Thank you.
Thanks for being at that awards thing, Mr. Carr.